Hello and welcome to another edition of Matador News. I'm Emerald Zellers.
And I'm Danny Max. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver spoke at a news conference today following an investigation by the NBA regarding Clippers owner Donald Sterling's alleged racist remarks. The result? A lifetime ban from the NBA.
Effective immediately, I am banning Mr. Sterling for life from any association with the Clippers organization or the NBA. Mr. Sterling may not attend any NBA games or practices. He may not be present at any Clippers facility, and he may not participate in any business or player personnel decisions involving the team.
Sterling will be ordered to pay a $2.5 million fine. The NBA will then donate that money to anti-discrimination organizations. In addition, Silver is calling for the NBA's Board of Governors to force the sale of the Clippers franchise. The NBA's Board of Governors requires a 3/4 vote to force Sterling to sell. Today was also the beginning of a heat wave and high winds over the next 4 days in Los Angeles. Temperatures are expected to reach triple digits in some valley areas. This could cause red flag conditions across Southern California.
Winds here on campus have picked up as well. The winds currently are blowing at about 20 miles per hour with gusts up to the low 30s. Temperatures are expected to be in the low to mid 90s through the rest of the week. The California DMV warns motorists to watch for crosswinds and suggests driving slower to adjust for the winds. Some relief from the high temperature and winds is expected to come on Sunday.
For 3 days, a chain of tornadoes has swept through the south, killing at least 30 people. The tornadoes destroyed homes and snapped trees. One resident summed up the feeling of terror in the area.
Scared, that's all I can say. I was scared. I was scared to death.
The hardest hit states were Arkansas and Mississippi, where 23 people died and more than 200 were injured.
CSUN students who had difficulties printing graduation tickets are now able to receive their tickets. This is the first year CSUN had students print their tickets via Ticketmaster, but many missed the deadline or encountered problems while printing. More than 300 students' concerns were addressed through the Ticketmaster website. The Office of Involvement and Development is now providing students with their desired numbers of tickets.
For the first time, 80% of high school students across California received diplomas within 4 years. But in Los Angeles, 60% of students graduated in 4 years. State Superintendent of Public Instruction Tom Torlakson said he thinks California will meet a national goal of 90% in advance of a 2020 deadline. Another 7.5% of students continued attending high school in hope of earning a degree behind schedule. Torlakson attributes the climbing graduation figures and falling dropout rates to programs that target disadvantaged and low-performing students.
El Camino High School won its 7th national decathlon title on Saturday in Honolulu. The school earned 52,601 points out of the possible 60,000. They beat 52 other teams, including Granada High School, who finished in second place, about 200 points behind El Camino. The title is the 15th won by a Los Angeles City school.
California Treasurer Bill Lockyer has announced that $75 million in health grants have been approved for 28 counties. The grants will help residents with severe mental health problems get the help and services they need. The grants will pay for more than 820 mental health beds, 3 dozen vehicles, and 5 dozen staff members for mobile support teams. $41 million will go to Los Angeles County alone to build 16 new residential crisis care facilities, each with room for 16 adults. These facilities will be for short-term care for mental health and substance abuse patients.
The Department of Water and Power is updating its billing software and older computer programs. The system melted last year, and thousands of people received inaccurate bills.
At least 6 people were wounded this morning after a package handler opened fire with an assault rifle at a FedEx station outside Atlanta. Police and witnesses say the gunman was found dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot. The gunman entered on Kennesaw, Georgia FedEx sorting station carrying a huge assault rifle, a knife, and bullets strapped across his chest. 2 of the 6 wounded are in critical condition. The identity of the gunman has not been released. Police have not discussed his motive.
A series of mortar and car bombs attacks in Syria have killed more than 50 people. The attacks targeted pro-government districts in the capital city of Damascus and the city of Homs. The deadliest strike was a car bombing near a busy intersection in Homs. It killed 36 people and injured 85. The government says hundreds of rebels have surrendered in those areas.
Pro-Russian militants have captured a team of international observers. The observers are being held in the eastern Ukrainian city of Slaviansk. The self-proclaimed mayor of Slaviansk says the UN team is being held in his city.
There are no
negotiations, he says, and they're prisoners of war. But we're not against an exchange for our activists.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian soldiers continue advancing towards the eastern Ukrainian city. The 2 sides keep moving closer to each other, but away from any talks or compromise.
North Korea conducted a live-fire military drill today near its border with South Korea. The drill lasted about 15 to 20 minutes. No shells landed in South Korean waters. A South Korean spokesman says the country's Army, Air Force, and Navy are prepared for a possible North Korean provocation. North Korea notified South Korea that it would be conducting the exercises.
The TSA is expanding its pre-check screening program for all international airlines. Air Canada became the first carrier to participate in the process. Passengers in pre-check will be able to leave their shoes, belts, and light jackets on. They also can keep liquids and laptops in their bags and be scanned by standard metal detectors instead of undergoing a full-body scan. Domestic airlines already use the pre-scan program. The TSA will be able to process twice as many passengers with the new pre-check program.
And now here with sports is Monica Olivas.
Thank you. Sponsors have announced their departure from the Clippers organization in light of Sterling's alleged remarks. CarMax, State Farm, Kia, Virgin America, Red Bull, Mercedes-Benz, Burger King, Sprint, Samsung, and other several companies will no longer sponsor the Clippers franchise. Clippers stars Chris Paul and Blake Griffin are spokesmen for State Farm and Kia. Both companies will no longer do business with the Clippers, but will continue to feature Paul and Griffin in their ads. The Kings are one game away from making hockey history. After being down 3-0 in San Jose to the San Jose Sharks in the first round of the playoffs, the Kings forced a Game 7. The Kings beat San Jose 4-1 last night at Staples Center to be up in the series 3-3. The Kings are the 9th team in the NHL history to force a Game 7 after being down 3-0 in a series. The Game 7 will be tomorrow in San Jose at 7 p.m. The Dodgers' ace pitcher Clayton Kershaw will continue his rehab tomorrow with AA Chattanooga. Kershaw said he is completely recovered from the back muscle injury that he suffered in Australia. The AA start would line up Kershaw to pitch for the Dodgers on May 5th when they open a 3-game series in Washington. The CSUN's women's rugby team is moving on in the Final Four of the national tournament. The team finished in first place in its league with an 8-0 record. The first postseason game for the Matadors will be at Stanford. The date and time is to be determined. That's all for sports. Back to you, Danny.
Thanks, Monica. Craig Ferguson announced that he is stepping down as host of The Late Late Show on CBS. Ferguson says it was his decision to leave and that the network did not push him out. Ferguson hosted the show for the last decade.
Actor James Cromwell showed his political side yesterday by joining a protest against Air France at LAX. The actor got into a cage to symbolize how the airline transports monkeys needed for research. Cromwell demonstrated alongside members of the animal rights organization PETA. PETA members say that Air France is one of the only major international airlines that ships monkeys in its cargo holds. PETA also claims the airline shipped more than 5,500 monkeys to U.S. labs last year. Air France says it follows all regulations regarding animal welfare.
Police in India arrested 177 people at the 8th Annual Stagecoach Country Music Festival over the weekend. Sunday's festival totaled 54 arrests and 5 for trespassing. A majority of the arrests were alcohol-related. This year's festival had 22 more arrests than the year before.
A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder has received 10 Tony Award nominations, the most of any production this season. The show received a nomination for New Musical and recognition for its stars Jefferson Mays and Bryce Pinkham. This is director Darko Trensjak's first Tony nomination. The musical ran at the Hartford Stage Company in Connecticut and the Old Globe in San Diego before transferring to Broadway.
Live Nation has announced that Jay-Z and Beyonce will play at the Rose Bowl on August 2nd. The couple is playing a total of 16 shows as part of their On the Run stadium tour. The tour begins on June 25th in Miami and ends August 5th in San Francisco. A percentage of the ticket sales will be going to the Sean Carter Foundation, which will help low-income students afford higher education. Tickets went on sale at 8 a.m. this morning for Beyonce's fan club members and will be available to the general public on May 2nd. And that's it for us here at Matador News. I'm Danny Max.
And I'm Emerald Zellers. Have a great day, Northridge.